Alrighty, g'day everybody, it's the Doga! It is now time for the next installment of the AC/DC album review series. If you want blood, you've got it, from 1978. The band's first official live album is the subject of today's video. This will be a fairly short one, I think. Mainly because it's just a live album. Now, the basic information, of course, is the fact that the majority of the concert was indeed recorded at the Apollo Theatre in Glasgow, Scotland, on the 30th of April 1978. But there is one exception, which we'll get to in a moment. The album was released in October of 1978 in the UK and North America, and in November here in Australia. The album does contain 10 tracks. We start off with Riff Raff, which is one of the better intro songs in my opinion. I think they should have kept that in the set list for a bit longer, but it's a shame it didn't appear later on. And you've got versions of Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be, Bad Boy Boogie, and Let There Be Rock from the Let There Be Rock album, as well as two from TNT, well actually three from TNT, being The Jack, High Voltage, and Rocker, as well as Rock and Roll Damnation, the big single of the Power Age album. And of course you've got Problem Child from Dirty Deeds as well. However, the album does contain Whole Lotta Rosie, but this version is not actually live. Evidence has come to light within the last couple of years that the version you hear on this album is actually just a remix of the original studio version, but with some slightly different lyric takes and a different guitar solo, as well as an edited ending. Now, this may come as a shock to some that have not heard of this before, but it is actually true. The crowd noise appears to have been dubbed in probably from the same show, and it still hasn't been confirmed to this day whether or not the song was actually performed on the night of the Glasgow show. I mean, there are recordings from a few days later that do feature it, but unfortunately it seems to be missing, and instead we get this unusual studio remix instead. I honestly don't know why, because it's quite a good studio remix, and in my opinion, it's got what I think is a better guitar solo from Angus, as opposed to what he actually recorded and what ended up on the album. But that's just my opinion though. You've got some pretty good... Overall, this album is pretty good. It's about 52 minutes or so, depending on which version of the album you own. And, arguably, it's considered by many fans to be the greatest live album of all time, but many people have begged to differ over the years. Nonetheless, If You Want Blood, You've Got It is definitely an essential need for those who are true hardcore AC/DC fans and enjoy watching the band perform live. But all in all, this definitely deserves a 10 out of 10 regardless. That will do for this shorter, much more simple album review. You know what to do now. Be sure to leave a like, comment down below on your opinion of this great album. And of course, if you're new, be sure to hit that subscribe button to make sure to stay in touch. There will be more album reviews on the way. The weather will hopefully be cooling down here very soon. And be sure to check out the playlists of rare and unique AC/DC songs that are also on the channel. But that will do. Until next time, this is the Doga saying have a wonderful day, and I shall see you again.